Okay, we are live. Whoever's in the chat, can you please let me know that you can hear me? Just type a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Because I'll start to worry if the sound is not working. Okay, just please type a 1 in the chat. If this just 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Oh, sorry, yeah. All right, damn Danny, Steph. Okay, I will. All right, Laura. All right, excellent. Okay, so we can all hear my big mouth now. Cool. Excellent. All right. So let's see who's in the chat right now. Let's see who's in the chat right now. Shady Booty was here earlier. Jessica Davis. Hi. Ray Phoenix. Good to have you here. Steph. Good to have you here. And Damn Danny. Laura Lulu. Miss MacGyver. All right. Good to have you all with us. Okay, good to have you all with us. For those who are new, welcome to Straight Talkin' Fedora Chic. It's sometimes a chaotic world, but welcome to it. We are, if for those of you who are new here, we're basically a commentary channel where I comment on pretty much anything except the beauty community. That I don't do. But on any other issue, pretty much any other issue, yeah, I comment on it. So if you're into that kind of thing, please consider subscribing. Yes. And as you can see, today's topic is Kati Morton, resident YouTube therapist. Now, let's just say for the record, her actual job title is licensed marriage and family counselor or therapist. Licensed marriage and family therapist. It's important to note that we don't, okay, because that is very different from a psychologist or even the title psychotherapist, okay? So that's all important to note. For one thing, psychologists require a doctorate, at least here in La Belle Province du Quebec. You're required to have a doctorate to hold the title of psychologist. It looks that way also in the state of California, where Kati Morton lives and practices. And what else about it? Just to be clear, when I read briefly a PDF on what a licensed therapist, we'll call her licensed therapist for short, because I'm not going to remember all the words to it. When you call, anyways, a licensed therapist, apparently she is allowed to make a diagnosis, but what she's able to do is limited. In other words, I think we can all go, when we all go back a few years ago, this was long before I joined the YouTube scene, it would appear. Shane Dawson did the series on Jake and Logan Paul. I think it was about 8 videos long, and Kati Morton acted as a consultant. And it was apparent there was some scandal because she was in over her head. And she was, when she referred to him as to Jake Paul as a sociopath, and she kind of did something like she used language like ew and yick when she was upon describing a sociopath. Now, another channel from an actual psychologist from Delaware, Dr. Todd Grande, which I highly recommend you go check out his channel. I will link his video. Critiquing Kati Morton's consultation or her part in the whole Jake Paul series once I jump off stream. Okay, so if there's any psychologist or anybody in that field with a YouTube channel I recommend is Dr. Todd Grande. He's not exactly Mr. Personality, but if you want real good information, he'll give it to you. You know, it's all provided. And he does that through talking about things like true crime, other YouTubers on the platform and stuff. So let's see what the chat is telling us right now. Before we go on further. Yeah, hugs back to Shady Booty. Thank you. And Jessica says she was nominated. Who in their right mind would have done that? I don't know how the nomination process for the Streamies work, Jessica. I really don't. So I wish, because I'll be honest, I didn't really research that part of it, the Streamies, because I thought I would go in as a, I had heard of the Streamy Awards first. I mean, the idea I got is kind of like the YouTube's answer to the Golden Globes, I guess. Yeah. She is only nominated in the health content creator category. Plus her competition is Dr. Mike, who has been crushing it this year. Yeah, so I've been hearing, I don't watch Dr. Mike. I do not watch Dr. Mike. Simply, if I'm not mistaken, he's pretty much an anti-vegan. And as a vegan myself, it's not where I'm going to look for advice. But, by all means, but I don't know how well, I can't really judge whether he's a bad channel or not, or whether he's a bad source of information. I can't judge either way. Let's see. However, this is the same award that named Tana. Oh yeah, Tana Monjo. Tana Monjo as content creator of the year, as well as Nikita Dragon as top beauty creator. Really? Interesting. Both barely uploaded. Wow. And I think they also nominate people like Mr. Beast. I know this year David Dobrik is nominated for a couple of categories. So I was saying that I was going to touch briefly upon question if the Streamies are actually rigged, and Steph says she thinks they are. Steph says, I used to like Katie, but I didn't like how she acted on the Jake, Paul, Shane Dawson thing, and her conduct. Eugenia Cooney sent me over the edge. Yes, we are going to discuss more the Eugenia Cooney component than the Paul brothers component. Simply because I didn't watch the series, the Jacob Paul. I know the basics about, the Kati Morton scandal, okay, if you will. I know a bit about that. So, but that's about the extent of it. You know what I mean? It's actually hard to diagnose anyone with psychopathy. And that's what Dr. Todd Grande says. And he also says, I don't know if I'm remembering this right, so don't quote me by anything. I think he also said sociopathy is actually not a diagnosis, but it was rather separated into things like antisocial personality disorder, or psychopathy, or more like antisocial personality disorder. So, okay, Steph, thank you. Steph just cleared something up for us. Psychopathy isn't actually recognized as a diagnosis. It's antisocial personality disorder in the DSM-5. Yeah, you're right. Just Ellie, no, you're just in time. We're there for a few minutes. Hey, Kathy, good to see you here. Without the question mark phone. That's all right, Just Ellie, you're here on time. Good, I have a lot to say about that. Well, Steph, if you're going to stick around, and you can feel free to correct any of my information. Hey, Kimmers, good to have you. Hope you're doing well. So yeah, Steph, so if you can stick around and you can correct my misinformation, if you will, that would be appreciated, because I don't always get it right. Hey, Denise. Hey, Denise, good to have you. Okay, see what kind of a turnout we're having. Let's see, we're having a turnout we're having. Okay. All right, yeah. So, hey, yeah, good to have you. So good to have you all this afternoon. So, yeah, so if you don't mind, let's just take a brief look at the nominees for this year's Streamies. Okay, so I'm going to share the screen. All right. Okay, I'm going to share the screen. Chrome tab. Okay. All right. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know. Because I won't be able to get it. I am unable to get it bigger than this. Okay. So let's go to the top. Now this is what started. That's not all the winners. Oh, denotes a winner? I thought this was done. This was only going to be on the 13th of December, the 2020 Streamies. That's what it says here off to the side. But they're winners. Yeah, there's Tana Mongeau, David Dobrik, Emma Chamberlain, Lily Singh, Mr. Beast, Ninja, Sapia Nygaard. All big names, all major YouTubers, right? Show of the Year, Chicken Girls, Escape of the Night 4, The Game Master, Good Mythical Morning, Hot Ones, The Philip DeFranco Show, another big creator. Tiny Meat Gang broadcast, The Try Guys, and everybody knows The Try Guys. Action or Sci-Fi, Huluween, Mortios, Hammond Kilby, Super Science Friends, Weird City. Okay, Illymation, I think they're well known. They're a well-known Breakout Creator. Oh, Breakout Creator, Danny Gonzalez, Joanna Sedia. Yeah, so Joanna Sedia is not a surprise to me, actually. Mr. Beast? Mr. Beast has been around forever. Doesn't Breakout Creator imply a new person? Mr. Beast has been around forever. Comedy. Documentary. First person presented by Gopo Hero Black, Emma Chamberlain, Tana Mongeau, David Dobrik. I don't know. It says here that it's being held on Sunday, December 13th, yet there are winners here in the notation. Anyways, let's skip right on ahead. As you can see, this is pretty much all major YouTubers. Beauty. Who's up for beauty? Yeah, Jeffree Star, James Charles, Jackie Ina, Brad Mondo. Yeah. Fashion. Food. Well, of course, Gordon Ramsay. But I actually like Gordon Ramsay. I actually like him. Health and wellness. Jay Shetty, the winner. Kati Morton. Dr. Mike Fitness, Marshall Jay Shetty, Princess Ike. And we don't need to go on. Okay. I'm going to address the chat in just a second. Okay. Okay. Hey, finally a stream I can make it to. Hecking time zones. Yeah, I know, and that's why I leave these streams up, so wherever you are in the world, you can always catch them later, but I'm glad you're here with us. Steph, I love excuse me, easy for me to say. Illymation, another victim of the TRS bullshit book. Oh, really, Steph? I did not know that. Are you sure these are not last year's winners? Yeah, oh, Kathy, okay, yeah, they're last year's. Okay. All right. Oh, I love Brad's hair fail react videos. See, I don't know who Brad is, and I don't know these people. Because like I said, I'll be honest, I never was interested in beauty. I never was interested in the cosmetics world. That's likely not to change. So that's why I don't really follow them. You know what I mean? So anyways, before we continue further, hang on. Okay. Hang on. Sorry, just bear with me. I'm having tech issues again. Just hang on. Let me know if there's an issue with the sound, please. Yes. All right. Okay. Ready. Okay. Okay. So, alrighty. Okay. All right. So that was the last. Okay. Anyways, but the list I listed was for the 9th annual. That's this year's. Okay. But anyways, let's get on to the topic at hand. So is there anybody here in the chat who does not know who Kati Morton is? I already described she's a licensed marriage and family therapist in California who was turned YouTube star. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks, Kathy. Yeah, she's in her 20s and she stopped talking to him because she didn't want to be dragged down with him because she was actually making a name for herself in a way that she rewired soul could not. So he got butthurt. Yeah, well, he always had an ego on him, didn't he, Steph? Okay. And dedicated chapter in his book to her. Jesus Christ. Yeah, he caused a lot of damage in his wake. But anyways, yeah. So anyways, as if, anyways, as if it wasn't bad enough, Kati Morton referring to, coming out blatantly, basically suggesting that Jake Paul might be a sociopath, and the way she went on use language like, almost childish language like yak and stuff like that. I mean, she wasn't qualified to deal with such diagnoses. She wasn't qualified to make such diagnoses. Then sociopathy is not a diagnosis. And the other thing she came under fire for was using that language like she was maligning those terms. And it's, in essence, a lot of people who suffer from mental illnesses that might be closely related to what she was suggesting were insulted. They were insulted. And they felt that this kind of language further stigmatizes mental illness. And this is all true. And this is the scary thing. She's not the first I'll call her a mental health professional, because she's not a psychologist, as I pointed out, but she is not the first mental health professional guilty of themselves perpetuating myths and stereotypes about mental illness and thus further perpetuating the stigma. However, it makes it more egregious because they should have learned better, in their study and along their continuing education. And in most jurisdictions, in order to retain your license, at least here in Quebec, where I live, you've got to maintain a certain number of hours yearly logged for continuing education. So they, of all people, should know things. So we should hope, because we should be, there are also people in positions of trust with a vulnerable population, and thus we need to what's the word I'm looking for? We need to hold them, people like Kati Morton, to a higher standard. And lately, as time went on, I used to be sub to her a long time ago before I found out about the Paul brothers stuff. And then I noticed more and more she appeared more interested in becoming a YouTube star, than anything else. And I have to wonder, like, what kind of decision does she make? Does she honestly believe she can be a good, reputable, licensed therapist and be a YouTube star at the same time? My opinion is the two are mutually exclusive. It's really gross because Shane kept dramatically saying, ew. Ah, yes. Okay. Thanks, Steph. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. So, that's a bit of an issue. Like I said, it's a bit, I find that the two are mutually exclusive. I mean, it's for the same reason why I don't like reality shows, like you have, like, for instance, Dr. Nowzaradan, who's both now a reality television star and a bariatric surgeon. But we're not here to talk about him. I'm just throwing that out as an example, like between medical or mental health professional vis-a-vis a television, or in this case, a YouTube star, in the case of Kati Morton. You know what I mean? And I think that the two are mutually exclusive. It's completely different mandates that collide with each other. And I think that's no different with Kati Morton. And we've seen the pictures and the videos of Kati Morton at every YouTube event, VidCon and such. Although I don't think VidCon wasn't held last year for obvious reasons. But we see her at these events and all that. And it's almost like, God, we're dealing with Miss Hollywood here almost, We're dealing with Miss Hollywood. Yeah. Hollywood. Oh my God. Speak of the devil. I just said Hollywood. Kati Morton is a sham artist. She enabled Eugenia Cooney to continue with her ED. Where is Katie now to help her? And we are going to address that very shortly. Hollywood, stick around. We're going to address that very, very shortly. I'm just getting the preamble done and up with. So anyways, Kati Morton wasn't able to handle the criticism following the fallout from Shane Dawson's Jake Paul series. She proved incapable of handling the criticism, and she didn't prove capable of handling the fallout. Now, I realize therapists like us are human beings. We're not all infallible to such acts as having a meltdown, be it publicly, be it privately, whatever. But again, it goes back to what I said. Therapists, anybody in the medical field or in the mental health field, need to be held to a higher standard, specifically because they are in positions of trust, dealing with a vulnerable population, vulnerable segments of the population. Hang on, just my opinion exactly, Hollywood. She's being frankly disgusting. You'd think that she would have to step in with her job. Clearly, Eugenia ain't close to good. No, that's true, Ellie. That's very true. And that's it, because the whole Eugenia Cooney, Kati Morton dynamic, this is a classic example of conflict of interest, Another example of Kati Morton appearing to pick YouTube views, like growing her channel, even though she was already almost at 1 million subscribers, and she's had billions of views over at her channel. But we always want bigger and better, I guess. I don't know. And from where I sit, that appeared more like Katie going after YouTube fame, if you will, like, I guess, more fame than she already has, or infamy, or that is a good example of that, you know. She really got defensive when people got upset about how she talked about sociopaths. Yeah, exactly, Steph. Yeah, this is exactly true. Yeah, she really didn't handle the fallout all that well, you know. But did she learn from her mistakes? No. Okay. So anyways, before we get on with the crux of the story, we review a bit about Eugenia Cooney, Kati Morton, Jacqueline Glenn, and we revisit all of them. We're going to start, just take a break. We are going to hand for some shameless promotion now. If you like this video, please give this video a thumbs up. If you have to leave early or you come in late, don't worry. You can always watch it in replay, watch the stream in replay. The stream will be left up. Okay? The stream will be left up. Yeah, so please consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. And again, please leave a thumbs up on the way out the door. Thumbs up, thumbs up. And well, if you don't like it thus far, that's okay. You can give it a thumbs down too. It's all engagement to me. Yeah, she did. Okay, so yeah, hang on. I'm going to get back to the chat in just a second. Now for the obnoxious e-begging portion of the show. Yeah, where I put out my proverbial rattle can. All right, if you wish to support the channel, I have Patreon. I'm going to put the links in the chat, or if there's a mod in here, if you can put those links in, that would be appreciated too. I don't, Kathy, I don't know if you still have those links. All right, so here's Patreon if you're interested. I upload there approximately once a month, extra content. Usually it's more personalized content. For a one-time donation, well, there is PayPal. There is PayPal. And I also have merch. I have a merch store. Yes. Okay. I have merch. So go check out my merch. I've got some really cute stuff. I still have to find things, upload new designs for some winter products, like some sweatshirts and hoodies. So that's to come. I'm also, yeah. So yeah, go check it out. But meanwhile, I've got a lot of cool stuff there. Go check it out. And we have a Discord server. Yay. We have a Discord server. If you haven't already joined our Discord server, what are you waiting for? Come and meet some awesome people. We have rooms to suit any and all tastes. And you must be 18 and up to join. You must be 18 and up to join. Okay, so please consider joining the Discord server. All right, so now we're going to go back to the chat. We're going to have to scroll up a bit because I'm going to catch up. Yep. Okay. Just Ellie, I think I left off here. You'd think that she would have to step in with her job. Clearly, Eugenia wasn't close to good. Yeah, no, yeah, okay, we got there. She got really defensive when people got upset about her talking about sociopaths. Hollywood. What's more sad is Eugenia Cooney pushed away Jacqueline Glenn, who was the one friend she really, truly cared about her. Now Eugenia is just wasting away again. And it is very sad, Hollywood. You're absolutely right. Using it, yeah, disgusting. The Eugenia thing is so sad. Katie fucked everything up there. Yeah, that's true. Kathy, the Kati Morton better move over when young dumb honey bun shows up with her degree. Yeah, but Kathy, you know young dumb honey bun and her ego. You know she's going to concentrate more on being a YouTube star than an actual professional, don't you? Don't you, Kathy? He gets me. Eugenia has nobody now. Katie has a duty of care as a mental health professional, at least. That would be the case in the UK. It would be here in my province, too, here in the province of Quebec, Steph. And I'm going to talk about that, too, a bit about my province where that is concerned, where mental health professionals are concerned. Because it's an ethical thing that I always had a thing with. Yeah. Yes, you do post yummy food, Ellie. If you want to catch Ellie's yummy food, join my Discord. Hi, Manipulous Lux. Welcome. Heidi, Heidi ho. Okay. So where was I? Okay, just finished addressing the chat. All right. So yeah, we fast forward. If anybody remembers, I'm not going to go over exactly the steps on how we know what happened in February when Eugenia Cooney announced that she was stepping away from social media for a bit to get some help for her ED, although she did not specify at the time that she had an ED. But it was, but it's pretty much implied. We all saw it. Was the last video she had done before that was that cosplay, like she had put on that pink short jumpsuit, and she had that short red wig. And she was doing that cosplay video, and people were quite alarmed at how poorly she looked, how ill she looked, and so there was a high amount of concern there. Some had said they had noticed that her knees were like red, and so I'm not a medical professional, but some have suggested that the red knees were a sign at the beginnings of organ failure. Okay, they were at the signs of organ failure. So yeah, so off she went. Fast forward to July, and this is where the drama started. Shane Dawson decides to help Eugenia Cooney come back to YouTube. She looked like she had put on a little bit of weight. She was looking a little bit healthier. She was still definitely quite underweight, still a little, but not nearly as gaunt as she was that February. And it seemed clear in her speech and in her tone during that entire video that she was clearly like at the beginning of a recovery, and for many, it appeared that she was not taking it seriously. There are some who have suggested she should never have come back to YouTube. And now clearly today we can see Eugenia is in the full throes of a relapse. Now, a relapse implies that you were in recovery to begin with. And again, I must stress, I'm not a professional, disclaimer, but I'm of the belief she never started recovery in the first place, unless you count the short time she was an inpatient. Do you know what I mean? But the point is, Yes, it was. And I do remember a few things struck out at me in Shane Dawson's Return of Eugenia Cooney video, was that she was wearing a heavy sweater all buttoned up in the middle of July of a Los Angeles summer, right smack in the middle of a Los Angeles summer. And she's wearing a heavy sweater all buttoned up. And so that was kind of telling for me, you know. I mean, heck, a Montreal July, mid-July in Montreal is hot and humid. I could barely handle a t-shirt then, you know. But more than that, the more sinister, I don't know if sinister is the right word, but definitely, like, Shane Dawson was greeted by a lawyer. Okay, a lawyer. The mother was nowhere to be seen, but the lawyer was there and had Shane sign some papers before he can continue the video. Yeah. Hi, Kirby. Good to have you. I noticed when she put on a lot of clothes, she put on a bit of weight. She wore baggy clothes, and now that she's in her ED again, she's wearing skimpy clothes again and is body checking. Yeah, that is sadly true, Hollywood. Hey, Kirby, good to have you here. Steph, it was her face. I think it's expected for her not to have gained a bunch of weight because they'd have to be super cautious of refeeding syndrome. This is true too, Steph. And I recall people were saying, I think people were expecting her to have gained a lot more weight. And I was saying back in the day that you kind of have to be more realistic because refeeding syndrome is a thing. And it often has to be done gradually. So you can't expect somebody to pack on about 50 pounds within a month. You know what I mean? It's not realistic. And she had that roundness. It was really lovely to see, but the roundness has gone completely now. Yes, sadly, it's true. Kathy, all her mother had to do was cancel the internet and take her phone away. I blame the mother. Well, many of us are of the belief that the mother has no interest in seeing her daughter get well. Like, in addition, I don't know, there's always something very eerie about that family. Now, if anybody remembers in that video with Shane, she couldn't figure out how to unlock and lock the door of her own house. I don't know. She couldn't figure out the locks, turn them on, off in her own home. Okay. But I think the mother, and if Jacqueline Glenn's story holds true, it looks like the mother was actively trying to prevent the intervention, if we recall as well, you know. Yeah, I noticed that a lot too, Holly. Summers in LA are hot. So if she wore a sweater like that during the time, it's super telling. Great point. Yeah, that's what I figured as much, Kirby. Yeah. She's skinning. I'm not going even go there because I have even more to say about her mother. It makes me very angry. Yep, this is true. Yeah, I noticed that too with the locks. It was weird. She has to ask to go downstairs, which is also, yeah, I remember that. I do remember that too, Ellie. You know, Jacqueline confirmed everyone's concerns about the mother. Yeah, exactly. I have to wonder if the mother and father view their daughter as a meal ticket. And being the sad truth, as many say, you know, would Eugenia Cooney be this popular? Would her channel be this popular if she weren't super, super skinny that she is? You know, I mean, not to be mean, but personally, I've seen her channel. It is geared to a much younger audience, almost teenage girls, really. And yeah. Yeah, and that's another topic for another time. Okay, right now I just want to remain in the scope of you with the Kati Morton thing. I just providing a little background into the situation so we all know what we're talking about here, so that we're all on the same page. I agree, Kathy, but it seems the mother is capitalizing. Yeah, it's sad, Kirby, but I think so too. Yeah. They do, and there are clips on Eugenia's videos of the mother screaming in the background about money. He's 26. I don't think many realize that. That's the thing. Many of us don't. And I think there is a reason behind that. But again, I think that's another discussion for another time. But I will say this, because maybe this is important too, when it comes to like Eugenia herself being too trusting of not trusting. She certainly didn't trust Jacqueline Glenn at the time of the intervention. what does it mean? What's the word I'm looking for? She is almost childlike. You know, I mean, the high-pitched voice, the bedroom decor, it's not really decorated like that of a 26-year-old woman, like how a 26-year-old woman would decorate the room. Hi, Danny. Good to see you. Hope the neighbor is fine. Hope the neighbor's doing well. Okay, so yeah, so Kati Morton acted as a consultant once again in the Shane Dawson Return of Eugenia Cooney video. Now, a few red flags go up initially because, number one, you'd think she'd have learned her lesson after the Jake Paul series. One would think she would have stayed away from that with a 10-foot pole. Oh, no, I'm not going through that kind of scrutiny again. I'm not going through that embarrassment again. No. But no, she went whack back at it with Shane Dawson, but with Eugenia Cooney. And this is where it makes it more contentious, if you, I don't know, for lack of a better word, because Jake and at least the Paul brothers, vulnerable is not a word we can use to describe those two. They're, you know, I mean, they're tough guys. They can pretty much sling it. You know, they can pretty much sling it. But Eugenia Cooney cannot. You know, she cannot. She is vulnerable in every sense of the word, you know. She has every sense of the word. So, but still, you know, people tend to get touchy with this, you know, and a lot of people get touchy, you know, the viewing public, the YouTube viewing public get quite touchy when it comes to the subject of Eugenia Cooney as well. So one would think Kati Morton would have stayed away from that for the first reason, because of the scrutiny she went under with the Paul brothers. But secondly, and even more telling, what we learned from Jacqueline within 24 hours, not even, that Jacqueline Glenn had consulted Kati Morton initially, you know, for guidance on how to do an intervention for Eugenia Cooney and how to go about getting a 5150. Now, for those of you who are not in California and not familiar with the 5150, that is a mental health hygiene law, whereas if somebody is a danger to themselves, which Eugenia Cooney clearly was at the time, and this is not according to me, this is according to the psychiatric emergency team that went on scene to assess Eugenia Cooney, they themselves determined that, yeah, she should have a 5150. So she was put on a mandatory hold, right? She was put on a mandatory hold. So, you know, so it was, you know, so we found out that, yes, Kati Morton operated as a consultant to Jacqueline Glenn, teaching her how to do teaching her how to go about, who to call, the resource needed, A, for the intervention and how to proceed, and B, the plan B, if it didn't work, how to get her assessed through the 5150 law and this mental health law in the state of California. Let's go to the chat. Shock value views. That would be the Paul brothers, Ellie. Yes. Steph, she was quite gothic, emo when she first started. Now it's like she's regressed to a 12-year-old girl, which makes sense because another anorexia motivation is wanting to remain childlike. I've heard that too, Steph, about others with the disorder. I've heard that too, Steph. Okay, hi Kirby. It's called sectioning in the UK. Okay, thanks for the term. Same here. We called it section 2. Ellie, yeah, you're also out and you're also overseas. Yeah. Steph, when it is determined that an adult don't have the capacity to make their own medical decisions. Yeah, that's pretty much what the 5150 law is in the state of California. It's kind of like again, a mental health hygiene law. And they do dispatch a psychiatric emergency team to go assess on scene. And that's what they did with Eugenia Cooney. Now, I'm not going to go back into all the details, the gory details of Jacqueline Glenn's story of the intervention. There are plenty of videos out there discussing it. Creepshow Art did a good job of talking about it. So already you have Kati Morton in what looks like a conflict of interest. Now, again, He's in the state of California. I'm not completely well schooled on California state law, except what constitutes to be legally titled a psychologist. Excuse me. And the rough idea of what a Katie's profession, her job title as licensed therapist, a licensed merit, we'll call her a licensed therapist, okay, for short. Wow, I didn't know that. I learned something new every day. 5150, very interesting. Yeah, we all learn something new every day, don't we, Kirby? Yeah, exactly. So, so already, I mean, here in the province of Quebec, this is where it's different. And I did used to work in the field of health and social services as an administrative assistant. I did assist child psychologists. I did assist frontline social workers. I am familiar with the code of ethics of psychologists and that, and the laws licensing and that. And I can tell you right off the bat, just that alone, Kati Morton would have been at least reprimanded by the order, the Ordre des Psychologues de Québec, which is the Quebec Order for Psychologists. Even though she's not a psychologist, whatever her professional order is called in my province, governing ethics and licensing and such, it would have been a similar thing, like her going yick and yuck and doing with the Jake. That would have gotten her reprimanded here, definitely. And then going on to do the Shane Dawson, Eugenia Cooney return as a consultant, especially after having acted as a consultant with Jacqueline Glenn to help her with the intervention and subsequent 5150 assessment. So already that's a conflict of interest. I mean, it smacks of conflict of interest from where I'm sitting. And Kati Morton should have backed out, but she didn't. No. Hang on, Stephanie. BTW, let's lift a cyber drink in memory of Alex Trebek. May he rest in peace. Yes. Oh, yes, that's true. Alex Trebek is a fellow Canadian, too. Half the viewers here in the chat are overseas, may not know who Alex Trebek is. I don't know if you get the game show Jeopardy in the UK. But yeah, there was a game show called Jeopardy, a very popular show for many decades, which tests and hones your trivia knowledge on any and all subjects. And Canadian expat Alex Trebek was its host. He passed away today after a lengthy battle with pancreatic cancer. And I'll be honest, pancreatic cancer is like, if you had to have cancer, this is definitely the cancer you don't want. It's pretty much, if you have pancreatic cancer, there's pretty much game over, sorry to be so blunt. I just heard, yeah. So anyways, yeah, so he passed away today at the age of 80 from pancreatic cancer. So yeah, we can all take a drink, definitely, to his health, especially, as a Canadian. I should probably, briefly mention it. Thanks for mentioning it, Kathy. Okay, Hollywood, I just heard about his passing an hour ago. Very sad. It is, isn't it? It is. It is definitely indeed. Yep. Okay. It is definitely sad, very sad indeed. Yeah. So, yeah, it was about an hour ago. This is like very fresh news. You're right, Hollywood. Okay. So onwards. Yeah. So onwards. Yes. So rest in peace, dear Alex Trebek. I wonder who they will get to host the show. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so let's get back to the topic at hand. So like I said, Kati Morton should never have even agreed. Right there, it was a conflict of interest because of helping Jacqueline Glenn. And obviously, Shane Dawson's interests in bringing Eugenia back to YouTube and Jacqueline Glenn's acting as a consultant for Jacqueline Glenn. Okay. 95% of no recovery. Yeah, that's for pancreatic cancer. Yeah, I think that's about correct, Kathy. Yeah, I think that's about correct. Yeah. So anyways, like I said, so that was already a conflict of interest. And here in Quebec, it would have been a conflict of interest. Because clearly Shane's interests for his video, I mean, what was the goal in bringing Eugenia back? Yet more clout than he already has. Not that he needs it, but hey, by golly gee, he wanted more clout, more views. By golly gee. All in the name of views. Because he wants to continue being a star. And Jacqueline Glenn truly wanted her friend, was truly worried about her friend, and was seeking consult on how to best help her friend. This was all done behind the scenes. It was not public until after Shane released his video. This was all behind the scenes, all behind closed doors. I believe Jacqueline's intentions were honorable at that time. Hey, Shady Booty, never too late. You can always catch it in replay when Shady Booty, you can always catch it in replay later as well. Yeah, money and views. Yeah, Steph, it's like, not that he needs it now, I mean, but hey, what's a little more, right? You know? But Jacqueline Glenn's intentions, I believe, were honorable. She really, truly was worried about her friend, you know? And that's why she sought a consult from Kati Morton. So if that all wasn't bad enough, we all remember the visit. I'm not going to go into details except that Eugenia Cooney was in a heavy sweater in the middle of July in a Los Angeles summer. And the fact that she didn't know how the locks on the door of her own house didn't function. And that Shane Dawson was greeted by a lawyer at the door with papers to sign. Like, why would you need a lawyer? It's just supposed to be a fun welcome back video. You'd think, why the heck is a lawyer needed? But anyhow, apparently the lawyer is part of the family. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I had no clue Katie was so messy, and now getting sued must suck ass. Oh, we're not talking about MFW, Shady. We're not talking about MFW. We're talking about Kati Morton, the therapist. Yeah, we're not talking about MFW. Yeah. Jacqueline was the truest friend Eugenia will have. Kati Morton threw her under the bus. And I'm just about to get to that, Steph. I am just about to get to that. 26 and living in a child's room, never goes out anywhere, never had a BF even at 26. Scary. It is quite scary because that's the other thing we learned. There's this chauffeur called Edgar who drives Eugenia Cooney everywhere, and he's always lurking around. He's always hanging around. Edgar the chauffeur is always hanging around. That's another thing that's quite bizarre. Really eerie when you think about it. Yeah, I know she is getting sued by Jacqueline Glenn. I thought, I didn't hear that. If that's true, that's news to me, Shady Booty. If that's true, I'm not saying it's not true. I have no idea. This is the first time hearing about it. Yeah, this is the first time hearing about that. I really don't know about any lawsuits from that end. So anyways, if we remember, Jacqueline Glenn made the video and she felt, and she talked about it, the experience and what they went through and what, a trying night that was. Now we fast forward 6 months ago, and I did a live stream about this 6 months ago, just on the heels of the collabs that Eugenia Cooney did with Kati Morton discussing mental health. There were about 4 videos they did together, 2 for Kati Morton's channel and 2 for Eugenia Cooney's channel, which seems to be customary when collabing with larger YouTubers. When larger YouTubers collab, it's kind of like unwritten rule that you do one video for one person's channel and one video for the other channel. Like you do an equal number of videos for each other's channels. It's kind of an unwritten rule, I suppose. But so this was the case. There were 4 videos in all, 2 on Kati Morton's channel, 2 on Eugenia Cooney's channel. Maybe they'd be even sadder, but I doubt it. Not to mention Eugenia has a huge kid following and has mods that are convicted predators. So etc and SSMH. Yeah, I know all about that too, Shady Booty, and I'll probably I may well address that in another video because this stream would get too long if I did. Yeah, it would get too long if I did. So yeah. So anyways, fast forward 6 months, they do the collabs. Now, like I said, I did a live stream talking about that 6 months ago. I will link that video in the pinned comment below when I jump off the stream. And this is where, like, the very fact, Kati Morton, what was she thinking doing these mental health videos with Eugenia Cooney talking about EDs? And for the record, apparently Kati Morton, one of Kati Morton's specialties is eating disorders, for the record. So she really should have known better. Now, if Kati Morton were sincere and wanted to do an informative video, an educational video on eating disorders, okay, and she wanted to do it by interviewing somebody in recovery, why didn't she find another person in recovery? And there are plenty on the platform. I mean, what Mia did next, the Australian girl, Mia, what Mia did next, she would have been a great choice. She would have been a great choice. She's been in recovery for a long time, and now she works as a coach back in her native Australia. You know, so what Mia did next, Mia would have been a great choice. Her channel is what, I don't know, a couple of 100,000 subscribers. So not too shabby, you know. But no, so Eugenia Cooney was going to be doing those videos. And if you're going to, you know, you're a specialist in ED, so that means Kati Morton of all people should have known, of all people should have seen that this girl was clearly not in recovery and that she was clearly in trouble. Anybody was able to see that because she was going back, you know, to appearing gaunt. So why did she do those videos? Why did Kati Morton agree to those collabs? Because again, here in the province of Quebec, that would have been a pretty bad breach of ethics, to the point her license at minimum would have been suspended, if not revoked altogether. That I can tell you that. Okay, I can tell you that for sure. Her license would have been suspended, if not altogether revoked. And then make matters worse, Kati Morton throws Jacqueline Glenn under the bus because as Eugenia is talking, she still refuses to name Jacqueline Glenn and friends by name. She refuses to name her by name, but she still refers to them as bullies. She still refers to them as bullies and still clearly is not on good terms with them, probably never would be. And she had no trouble mentioning that. And the question becomes, okay, and again, this goes to a question of ethics. Again, I'm not that well schooled on the laws of California here, but here in Quebec, at the very least, Kati Morton should have mentioned to Eugenia Cooney that she did consult, that Jacqueline Glenn did consult with her. And yes, she did provide guidance to Jacqueline Glenn on how to do this intervention, and B, how to go about getting that 5150 assessment for her. You know what I mean? Clout chasing Morton, that's why Eugenia is still so ill looking. Her gums are pulling away from her lips. So that is sad. It's tragic to see, and how YT still allows her channel to exist is beyond me. Yeah. Well, like I said, another topic for another time. You know what I mean? You'd think she is also a mandated reporter. I think most, if not all, already. I don't know. If there's somebody in California here could correct me, that's fine. And you can do, if you're watching in the replay, feel free to let me know in the comments section. Correct me. But yeah, I think it's assumed that anybody working in the mental health profession is a mandated reporter as well. But let's not forget that Eugenia Cooney is not a child. She's not a minor. She may act childlike, but she is over the age of 18. Okay. Now, is she compos mentis? That's not for me to say. That's for bigger minds. That's for bigger, brighter minds than mine to determine. That's not for me to determine. I smell a sneaky snake vibe, and it most likely. Oh, wow. So, yeah. So, anyways, so this is the thing. Back in the province of Quebec, just even agreeing to do these videos was bad enough. And at the very least, yeah, did she disclose to Eugenia Cooney that, yes, I did provide guidance to your friend, Jacqueline Glenn, on how to do the intervention and how to go about getting a 5150 a 5150 assessment. But no, she turns around in that video when they're discussing that very subject, when Eugenia's going on and how bad the experience was. Yeah, okay, yes, it's true. I'll agree. A psych emerge is the fourth circle of hell, no matter where you are. Yeah, I think most of us, especially those of us who have actually been in one, can agree on that. But that's neither here nor there for the purposes of this discussion. That's neither here nor there for the purposes of this discussion. But Steph, Shady Booty, her mother had a big part to play in that. She drips. Oh, really? That I didn't know. I know, but over here also with adults, a doctor psych, and so on allowed section. Oh, really, Ellie? Okay. Oh, really? When they think you are a threat to yourself. Okay. So anyways, yeah, I mean, surely by now, Eugenia Cooney must know. I mean, even though her mother and the lawyer and Edgar, the driver, probably shield her from a lot of what goes on, like all the, all the drama and all that going online, they probably do try to shut her out as much as possible. But hey, this is the internet, right? I mean, how much can you shut her out from? Hey, Beckaroo. Oh, well, happy cooking. Bon appetit, Beckaroo. Good. Thank you. So, yeah. So, anyways, so yeah, so this is where it gets more egregious. Kati Morton appears to be agreeing with Eugenia Cooney, or at the very least validating Eugenia, talking about the 5150 and how bad it was, and Jacqueline Glenn, even though she didn't ever mention Jacqueline by name, she was kind of like she was approving along that Jacqueline was a bad person, basically, like validating that she's a bad person. I just can't believe they hide her away. I truly believe that lawyer is the one stopping most help. And even then, I don't know why this lawyer is there, or what kind of law, or what kind of law that lawyer practices. I don't know. But we noticed in the Kati Morton videos, we didn't see the lawyer on hand, did we? But that's not to say that Kati Morton wasn't forced to sign any waivers or whatever, or non-disclosure agreement or whatever. It's not to say that didn't happen behind scenes, but again, that's neither here nor there for the purposes of this discussion. The whole family depends on her as the breadwinner, and if she got healthy, no one would watch the channel because it's a sad state of affairs. All for greed, in my opinion. It's sickening. Yeah, I'll have to agree with you there, Shady Booty. I'll have to agree with you there. Yeah. Because, I mean, in all honesty, would she have the notoriety, the internet fame that she does if she were normal size, if she were healthy sized? Would she? Okay. She'd have to definitely step up her game. Let's put it that way. She'd have to step up her game. Without a crystal ball, has been busy in the YT streets. Yeah, I need a scorecard to keep up with that. She's suing people. People are suing her. Katie Joy, another Katie. Yeah, another Katie. Katie Joy without a crystal ball. Yeah. That is hard to keep track of. She's suing people. People are suing her. And it's very hard to keep. It's very hard to keep track of. Anyways, I digress. Anyways, I digress. So the fact that Kati Morton, she essentially very public way threw Jacqueline Glenn under the bus. And I felt that it was the whole thing from start to finish was very irresponsible on Kati Morton's part. And again, Like I said, with somebody in Kati Morton's position, we have to hold her to a higher standard. We have to hold her to a higher standard than, say, the average YouTuber. We are supposed to be able to defer to her to have better judgment than, say, Shane Dawson, Eugenia Cooney, or even Jacqueline Glenn, for that matter. Okay, simply because the latter three that I mentioned are not mental health professionals. And what is with messy Katie's on the YT machine? So true, Shady Booty. I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking that very same thing. So yeah, that was basically the crux of it. She and we see Eugenia Cooney today, still very much in denial over her condition. We see her body checking. If you check her out on camera, she's body checking. And yeah, she is body checking, and it's all sad. And yeah, somebody pointed out, and I think most of us have noticed, that the skinnier she is, the more scant her wardrobe choices are. The more scant her wardrobe choices are. So that's all very interesting. All very interesting. Especially you see her in a heavy sweater in the middle of July, yet you see her in a crop top full of holes in it in the middle of winter. But again, Los Angeles, California, a place where there is no winter, really. No, not in the sense that we have here in Canada, not even to drink water, and I think most of us YouTubers, especially when we stream, especially when we live stream, we're all drinking something to stay hydrated. ODD, the clothes she gets for free, everything she does for YT, it's sad. Yes, and I know. And then you even have, people like Jeffree Star who comp her makeup, you know what I mean? It's all very sad. It is all very sad. And I was thinking about doing another video, which will be more controversial in topic. Let me know what you think below, because I haven't said yes for sure I'm going to do it or not. I'm still thinking about it. But do you think? Would you like a video discussing the very subject of? Okay, body checking Ellie. She's on camera, and it's like she's looking at. It's like she's doing all to show herself. She's dressed. Okay, but she's doing all to show herself, like, look at me, look how good I look, type of thing. Like standing up, like close up or far away, and making, striking a pose. And that's pretty much what body checking is in this case. No, we're not talking about the sport of hockey. We're not talking about hockey. Not at all. Okay. So, yeah. So basically, to summarize what I said, yeah, here in Quebec, the Eugenia Cooney video, okay, here in Quebec, like I said, don't know about California, here in Quebec, in La Belle Province, for her role in the Jake Paul series debacle, she would have gotten seriously reprimanded here by the order governing her licensed professional therapists. Yeah. Okay. She would have gotten a reprimand by the professional order here in La Belle Province in Quebec. And for her role in the whole Eugenia Cooney debacle, the endless conflicts of interest. And again, let's explain conflict of interest here. It is this case holds. Okay, the conflict of interests. Kati Morton, behind closed doors, provides guidance to Jacqueline Glenn as a consultant. Okay, Jacqueline Glenn is using Kati Morton's professional expertise. Let's not forget, Kati Morton's specialty is in EDs, right? Okay, next, the video to welcome Eugenia back. And, a few things, once again, it's a different set of interests altogether. And did Eugenia and did Shane Dawson at the time, not Shane, I'm mixing my names up again. Did Kati Morton disclose to both you, to Shane, at least Shane Dawson at the time, that she did provide guidance to Jacqueline Glenn? He must know it by now. Okay, and then the collabs. Did she disclose to Eugenia Cooney or Eugenia Cooney's handlers that she did indeed consult with Jacqueline Glenn? Did she consult? And these are three different interests, right? Again, in videos, which the latter three. Oh yes, I keep forgetting, Ellie. English is not your first language. Okay, well, let me know if you have if you want to know what a word or a phrase means. I'd be happy to help you out with there. I keep forgetting English is not your first language. But just ask. Feel free to ask anytime, not just today, but any stream that you may be watching or any upload. If you feel free to ask. We don't learn if we don't ask questions. We don't learn. Let's see. Yeah. So, okay. Alrighty. So anyways, yeah. So these are separate interests altogether, I'm not, and Eugenia Cooney doesn't have to be a patient of Kati Morton's for this to even be a conflict of interest, this whole rigmarole. And now we're at Kati Morton's getting nominated for Streamies. She gets rewarded for a Streamy. Here in La Belle Province, she would have had a lot of issues with the professional order. She would have had a lot of issues, a lot of explaining to do with the professional orders. But over there, she gets rewarded with a Streamy nomination. How does that happen? How does that happen? And herein lies my issue with not just someone like Kati Morton becoming because to me, from where I sit, she's more interested in being a YouTube star, having the notoriety, than being an actual therapist. This is my 2 cents. You are free to have a differing opinion, of course. You are always free to have a differing opinion. Knowing what I know about Kati Morton, and if I were living in California, I certainly would not want her as my therapist. I certainly would not want her. Oh, really, Shady Booty? Oh, yeah, I really wouldn't. I really wouldn't want her. From where I sit, it's like I said, this is why I have an issue, and it's not just YouTube. It's not just YouTube. It's so-called reality shows where you see doctors and medical professionals and medical procedures and actual patients. Shows like My 600-Pound Life or what the Slayton sisters did, the 1,000 whatever. Excuse me, 1,000-Pound Sisters. Or shows like, what's that show? Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz. Oh, Dr. Oz especially, Dr. Phil. All of them now, stars. Dr. Phil at least surrendered his license to practice a decade ago to concentrate more on his television career. I'm not a fan of Dr. Phil, but I'll give credit where it's due. At least he surrendered his license. He made a choice because I think the two are mutually exclusive. What do you want? A TV career? Do you want fame as a person, a TV or even an online personality? Do you want that kind of notoriety, or do you want to continue pursuing your career for more altruistic motives, being that your mandate in your profession, always the top mandate is in the best interests of your patient. And even if that individual in question, like Eugenia Cooney, is not your patient, you still have to think of her best interests first. What are her interests? What are her best interests first? Not what she may like or want, but what is better for her. Was doing a collab going to be helpful to her? Obviously not. Now, would Eugenia Cooney have continued on in the path that she's in? More than likely. The point is, Kati Morton did not have to partake in that. And now it looks to me from where I'm sitting, and if I dare say it, she seems like an active participant. Do you know what I mean? She seems like an active participant. And I always felt, you know, and it's not just her. It's like Dr. Oz or Dr. Nowzaradan from My 600-Pound Life. You know, what do you want? Do you want to be a star? Do you want to really help people? And I think the two are honestly mutually exclusive, because the top mandates of each. One is for ratings, views, clout, and the other is in the best interest of the client, in the best interest of the patient. And those two interests always clash. No matter how you slice it, they always clash. Hey, Courtney. Yeah, good to have you here. I like Katie, so it's interesting to hear a different point of view. I'm rusty on 5150 situation. Did she know it was Eugenia that be institutionalized? The answer to that is yes, Courtney. Yes, and Jacqueline Glenn a while back did provide proof. Okay, she did provide the email exchanges between her and Kati Morton. So yeah, the answer to that, Courtney, would be yes. Dr. Ellie, Dr. Oz wanted you. Did he really? Did Dr. Oz really want Eugenia on the show, but she declined? They did a little. Really? I never heard of that. I never heard that. Oh, okay. I never heard that. So anyways, I just put in my 2 cents. Yeah. So true. For example, like Terry Boubro from Botched and Real Housewives. He never wanted the fame. He just wanted fame from being a likable, good plastic surgeon. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think, you know, it could be another interesting discussion, you know, another live stream discussion, you know, fame, you know, for, you know, mental health professionals or medical professionals becoming either reality TV show or talk show stars. Can they mesh? I think that would be an interesting discussion to have further down the road. Let me know in the comments section once this, once I jump off stream. The comment section is always open. Let me know if that's something you want to see, by all means, you know? Let me know. I find the motives behind the Dr. Celeb, etc., like Dr. Drew, fascinating. It would be. Okay. So yeah, let me know if you want to discuss. If you want to do a discussion on that, we certainly can. We certainly can consider it. You know what I mean? No one really does that. Well, that's true. Huh? No one really does do that. What I'd like to have, ideally, to do that is to be in collab with somebody who's actually a professional or at least retired to talk about it with me. Because I'm not a professional, you know, so it would be really interesting if I were to do such a stream and hold such a discussion on my channel. It would be really interesting if I could get a professional on with me, either in the medical field or in the mental health field, or even somebody retired to come on with me. You know, I think that would make things more interesting because we'd have expertise on, you know. Yeah, I know a few that do it the right way. The rest have a motive, a bad one. Okay. But I think one example of somebody who does it the right way, like I said, Dr. Todd Grande. Like I said earlier at the top of the stream, I will find Dr. Grande's video when he was critiquing Kati Morton and her role in the Shane Dawson, Jake Paul series. Okay. So you can watch that for yourself. You'll find quite a contrast. Like I said, Dr. Grande, his personality is a bit dry, but he is very informative, and he comes off sympathetic, and it's quite informative. And because he provides information, education, he's really not there to entertain, and I don't think he feels it's his role to entertain. So I'll link it. Yeah, Twitch. So anyways, I'm going to turn it over to the chat right now because we're toward the end. We've been on for 1 hour and 15 minutes. So I'm going to turn it over to you. Yeah. Twitch streamer, Dr. K, for instance, I watch on OBG, Doc Mike. Yeah, he was another nominee there. Exactly. Katie talks a lot about ethics in her practice on her podcast, so it's strange to think that she has bad intentions, but who knows? I'm not going to come out and say bad intentions, but I would definitely, I think I would prefer the term irresponsible, maybe. Not responsible, irresponsible. Like she should know, she should have or should know better. Even if the laws in California are not as stringent as they are here in the province of Quebec, you still got to think, you know, it still requires to think, and it's still not a good idea. It was never a good idea to participate with Shane Dawson in any of those projects, if you ask me. And it was definitely not a good idea to do those collabs with Eugenia Cooney. Like I said, if Kati Morton wanted to have somebody in actual recovery from an ED, there's no shortage of people, even on YouTube, for her to have chosen from, to have selected to do that. You know what I mean? Maybe not with the sub count that Eugenia Cooney has, but there were some, you know, with a decent, like I said, that Australian coach, what Mia did next, she would have been a great choice. Yeah. Most others seem to me are in it for the money. Sad but true. I'm thinking of starting a YT to connect to others. Usually, sure, there are narcissists thrown in, but there are everywhere in every profession, usually, so it's no diff in my opinion, but it's still interesting. Okay, yeah, I can see, yeah, I can definitely see that, Shady. Courtney, love Dr. Grande. Okay, yeah, good. Like I said, I'll link his video when I'm done, which will be in the next few minutes. Think about the psychological aspect to doing a YT channel, etc. That would be an interesting topic, Shady. That would be an interesting. Anyhow, my 2 cents and then sum up. There we go. Shane used Eugenia. In my opinion, he did nothing. Yeah, agreed. I agree. It's very interesting. Yeah, it is all very interesting. It really is. It really is all very interesting. Yeah. Okay. I agree, Shady. He exploited that situation to his advantage. It was watered down sympathy and just to change the internet's opinion on Eugenia. Yeah, Courtney, yeah, I would agree. I would definitely agree with that. You know what I mean? And I mean, there are those who blame Shane Dawson for Eugenia's visibly relapse. But the thing is, I believe, while I think he should have never have done such a video, and I think he probably should have stayed out of it, there would have been nothing to stop Eugenia to return to doing her Twitch and her YouTube. There wouldn't have been anything to stop her, because that was going to happen, especially if Mother is in the background, micromanaging. I think it was a foregone conclusion she was going to come back. I really do. The sad thing too, Eugenia, Jacqueline Glenn had done a video a while back, and she said she was not going to try and do another intervention. And honestly, I can't blame her, not for everything she went through following that. And this is the thing, the sad thing is, after what Jacqueline Glenn went through, and then after seeing Kati Morton, the therapist, pretty much validating Eugenia's words, nobody is going to want to even attempt an intervention on Eugenia Cooney. No one. No one's even going. That's the sad thing. No one will attempt it. Not after the trouble, the public, the drama, the subsequent drama that unfolded, Not for all the trouble Jacqueline Glenn had. No, I understand that, Shady. So childish. I don't think it would take a lot of convincing to control her. Agree, Courtney. It's what I was saying, Shane Dawson is to blame for a lot of things during his career on the platform. You know, a lot of drama. But is he to blame for her relapse? Really? My answer, like I said, the short answer is no, simply because even if he didn't do this video, trust me, her mother would have found a way, her handlers would have found a way to get her right back in front of the camera. It would have happened regardless. Yep. Interventions like that are traumatic either way. It wasn't a fair point. It would be very confronting for her. And I can understand being angry initially, but I felt, you know, I always felt, you know, if you're in recovery, and not just from an ED, but also from addiction, because it's the same styling of interventions that happen there. If one, you know, I mean, it's quite telling that Eugenia Cooney, A, refuses to mention Jacqueline Glenn's name, and B, does not view her as a friend or someone who cares, but views her as a bully trying to control, another bully trying to control her. You know what I mean? I think that's telling. And I don't know, in my opinion, it's pretty telltale that she is still in denial. And it's quite apparent, even nowadays, people are asking her how she's doing. They're concerned for her health. And she, you know, she's quite la-ti-da, nonchalant, quite nonchalant about her denial as well. She seems she has autism or trauma. She's so childlike. And even Jacqueline said she was always awkward around people her own age. Mom seems domineering, and she seems always online, is a slave. She has Jack memorabilia around. If you watch her channel, you would pick up on that. I see. I see. Yeah, they always get upset. Yeah. People think she has special education problems. No people. She's starving. She can't think. I think it may be a combination of both, but that's just this layperson's opinion. I think, I mean, is she delayed? Is she on the spectrum? That I don't know. And I'm not even going to guess. I'm not even going to guess. Because it would be dangerous to guess, you know, especially on a live stream on YouTube like that, on such a public forum. I'm not even going to hazard a guess. Yeah. I'm not even going to hazard a guess on that one. So, like I said, so anyways, well, I'm on for another 5 minutes, and then I'm going to really get going. Like I said, I will find the Todd Grande video. And before I go, yes, we'll get through. Please, if you haven't given this video a thumbs up yet, please consider doing so on the way out the door. Or if you don't like it, you can always give it a thumbs down. It's still engagement. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing. If you wish to support the channel, yes, once again, the obnoxious e-begging portion of the show, I'll put the links in the chat. If you wish to support this channel, you could do so through Patreon. And Patreon, go check out my Patreon content. There's some extra content, usually more of a personal nature if you're interested in that. One-time donation, you can do so through PayPal. You can do so through PayPal. Here we go. And I also have merch. Yes, I have some cool designs there on my merch. Go check it out. I will be coming up with some sweatshirts soon, you know, to prepare us all for the winter season. So check that. But meanwhile, check out the cool stuff there's there. And also, okay. And also, if you haven't joined our Discord server already, please consider doing so. Please consider joining our Discord server. You must be 18 and up to join. That is non-negotiable. You must be 18 and up to join. But come meet some awesome people. It's one of the few Discord servers that is pretty drama-free. We are proud to say. We keep things pretty drama-free. Cool people. We have rooms. We have chat rooms of all to suit all tastes, anything from politics to a venting corner to talking about gaming, cooking, sharing recipes, sharing your artwork. So yeah, please consider doing so. Yeah, I see a snitch getting bleaker. So I hope a miracle happens. You'll post the video in the Discord. Thank you so much, Ellie. Cool. Thank you so much. That would be great. Yeah, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Hey, Kirby. Hey, Kirby. Yeah. So yeah, please consider doing so. And like I said, let me know if there's a video topic that you'd like me to talk about. You want to see me talk about? Always feel free to contact me, either in my comment section, or if you're on Twitter, you can hit me up on Twitter. That's at Fedora_Chic with a C, CHIC. Yeah, you can hit me up on Twitter. And you hit me up, Straight Talkin Fedora Chic on Instagram. I'm hardly on Instagram. I don't really post there anymore, but I can communicate via DM with you if you wish, and you don't go on Twitter. And also the Discord. You can always contact me there in Discord. I'm fairly easy to find. Yeah. So yeah, by all means, if you've got video suggestions for me, please let me know, and definitely, at the very least, put them into consideration. I'll definitely put them in. Keep everything under consideration. I meant Katie was getting sued by Glenn, not Hill. Wanted to correct my booty. That's okay. We all make mistakes, Shady. It's all right. Thank you. Thank you all for showing up. Always remember, please take care of yourselves and each other. And if there's somebody in your midst who is alone or at risk, please take the time to give them a call. If they've got social media, DM them, look in on them. Sometimes a sympathetic ear that can make all the difference in the world to that person. Always never underestimate the power of showing some care. And yeah, like I said, I am off and away for this afternoon. Oh, I love this sentiment too, Shady Booty. Thanks. So yeah, I got a friend I need to see. Okay, Kelly Miller. Yeah. Okay, Kelly Miller. Cool. And it's good to have you here. Once again, anybody who's just joining, I'm about to drop off. I'm about to go over and out. But the stream will be left up. You can watch it in replay, and the comment section is open. So everybody, enjoy your Sunday. Have a great afternoon. Over. Straight Talkin Fedora Chic, over and out.